Hi everyone, this is the creative playthrough of The Lady's Choice. I am Serapha Knight, the one who made the visual novel. Last time I played through the prologue in a very fast reading voice, so apologies for that. I will try to be slower this time. As I said before, I'll be going through Stanton's route first, and this is the beginning of that. As we go, I will try to remember to add bits and pieces of behind the scenes information such as character design details, story plot ideas, etc. If you do have anything that you would like to know for next time, if you just leave your question in the comments, or if you want to send me a message on Tumblr, which I will leave a link to in the box below. I think that's pretty much everything, so let's jump straight back into it. Last time we just finished on the choice of events, and there was a little snippet of Amesbury's there. So we'll be going for the afternoon tea, which is Lord Stanton. I think the afternoon tea. Are you certain? Lord Stanton may be there, and now you've spoken to him once, we may not be able to avoid the acquaintance. Arabella, you advised me not to fret, but now you are. Her worry shifts to a small smile. All right, as you wish then. Can he really be so bad? He seemed like a perfectly respectable gentleman at the ball. Arabella gives an unladylike scoff. His manners have nothing to do with his reputation. I just do not wish to see any slander fall on you due to his careless interactions. I understand. And we have no reason to converse with the man anyway, so I do not expect it should be an issue at all. She picks up the invitation to the afternoon tea and then stands from her seat. I shall let Johnson know to inform them of our acceptance. I give her a nod and she leaves the room. That afternoon we arrive at the event rooms to see who else decided to attend this gathering. For anyone who has played through the game, they may notice that I have changed the chattering sound in the background because I got quite a few interesting comments on some of the sounds that were in the chattering. As soon as we step inside, we are accosted by Miss Claire Witter. Oh, Lady Ashbourne, Miss Ingham. We all dip into curtsies, though Miss Witter's is rather more animated than ours. Isn't it the most thrilling thing? This is my first time attending these events on my own, you know. Well, except for the presence of my aunt, who provides little more than complaints to everything we do. But, now you have both arrived, I believe this will be a most splendid afternoon. Indeed it shall, Miss Witter. Arabella obviously sees a new friend in the girl and sidles up to her. Is there anyone of note yet here? No one except you, Lady Ashbourne. Arabella glances in my direction, a pleased smile gracing her lips. Oh, I do believe we shall get on very well, Miss Witter. The small group of us head to one of the vacant seats and settle ourselves in. Miss Claire Witter was one of the miscellaneous characters. I did enjoy her, and a lot of the characters that I wrote were supposed to be quite a bit older, whereas Claire Witter was supposed to be that young and up-and-coming kind of character who views society in a very different way, especially considering she's probably one of the poorer characters, which you don't really get insight to, but when I wrote her backstory, that was where she came from. The small group of us head to one of the vacant seats and settle ourselves in. It's not long until we have been served our tea, accompanied by a selection of fluffy delicacies. Are you here for a marriage match, Miss Witter? That is what I hope, though I have seen no one yet. That is often the way. The conversation is suddenly halted as the room falls quiet. I turn in my seat to see what everyone has decided to stare at. I soon discover the quiet is due to someone only now entering the hall, far later than what should be acceptable. It's not hard to distinguish it as Lord Stanton, merely from his tall stature alone. As he steps inside, there is the faintest twitter of whispers before everyone returns to their conversations. Before I do the same, I manage to catch Lord Stanton's eye. He smiles at me and dips his head in a formal greeting. A lot of the expressions that I drew for the character are a lot more subtle than what is usually on sprites in visual novels, but I hope they do come across quite well. I didn't think exuberant kind of expressions would suit in a Regency type setting for the art. I return the gesture when I suddenly feel a hand rest on my arm. Sophia, would you care for more tea? I turn back to face my companions and nod at Arabella's question. You know Lord Stanton, Miss Ingham? We have not been formally introduced, no. Arabella soon changes the topic of conversation. There are many eligible men about, Miss Witter. It just seems to take a year of searching to find them. She laughed softly. And what of you, Lady Ashbourne? I heard there was talk of a possible engagement. Word truly spreads fast. I'm afraid that did not come to fruition. She doesn't seem to be too affected in any way, but still. I don't know if anyone watched the last video, but if you did, I did note that there are certain personalities that the love interests respond to a bit more. So for Stanton, we'll be playing a genial kind of character. Oh, Arabella, I am sorry. Why did you not tell me sooner? I did not wish to curb your enjoyment of being back in society. She hands me a teacup with a bright smile. Do not look so concerned. I am not broken-hearted in the slightest. Why did the match not progress? Arabella shrugs her shoulders and shuffles back in her seat a little. He is not a fan of being in society, and our life together would have been spent mostly in the country. And though some may value that piece of that life, she throws me a knowing smile. It is not what I wish for my future. I enjoy the crowds of the town too much to surrender that for marriage. It is a fact that would be difficult to deny. Arabella is truly in her element amongst the crowds. As the conversation dwindles, I glance about the room, noticing Lord Stanton is not amongst the chattering people. Would he have left already? The welcome he received was not the most cordial. The thought is forced from my mind as Arabella and Miss Witter grab my attention once more with talk of the latest London fashions. It is a couple of hours before I am left to myself, Miss Witter most insistent upon Arabella meeting her tiresome aunt. Taking a walk about the room, I hear no conversation that tempts me to join, so continue on. Peering down a side hallway, I begin walking down it. Exploring the event hall has far more interest than forced pleasantries with strangers at that moment. Halfway down the corridor, I catch a whisper of voices and find my feet following the source of the noise before I can stop. The voices, now made clearer to be angered ones, come from behind the small doorway. I am about to turn away when I recognise one of them as Lord Stanton's. You press your luck to call on me here. Have no worries, my lord. I was careful enough to go unnoticed. We were most anxious to know if you will be attending the house tonight. I am there most every night. Why should this evening be any different? Stanton's voice holds an unmistakable tension. The boss will be pleased, with you being such good friends now. Yes, I am sure his wallet is most excited by my presence. That is unfair, my lord. You cannot blame all your bad fortune on my good employer. He does not force those in his establishment to gamble, he only provides the option. Stanton gives a derisive snort. Yes, the man's practically a saint. There is a silence so tense it seems to batter me even through the closed door. Until tonight then, my lord. The sound of a door opening and closing echoes from the room, and I realise the conversation is over. Throwing my glance about the hallway, I am dismayed to find no hiding places. The door before me opens, revealing Lord Stanton, whose face tenses in surprise to find me. Miss Ingham, what are you doing here? I will be playing this through to get the endings that I like best for each route. For Stanton, that is the true love ending. For Blake, that is one of the, not the true love ending, but one of the actual love endings. Stanton is not one for playing games. I grew rather tired of the same talk in the hall, so decided to walk about. I overheard rather angered voices and came to investigate. I understand. Curiosity is a natural trait for us all, is it not, Miss Ingham? I smile at him in gratitude of his understanding. He offers an arm towards me. Shall we return to the hall? We proceed down the hallway together, and I speak to break the silence. You have discovered my name, I see. I believed it was only fair, as I was sure someone would be quick to inform you of mine after the ball. I give a small nod. And, along with my name, I'm most certain that you have had my most scandalous details relayed to you. My expression drops a little at his words, giving answer enough. I see. Then what you overheard just moments ago cannot have come as much of a surprise. You are very open and most keen to make light of it all. What use is there in doing otherwise? Though I wish my affairs could be my own. That can never be the case in today's world. It is a fact I have grown used to. I would care very little of what others say of myself, but that it should have an effect on my family is what concerns me most. Before we can speak more on it, we come to the entrance of the hallway which opens back into the hall. A few people glance in our direction, and I can feel Stanton tense beside me. I shall take my leave of you now, Miss Ingham. It would be unfair for me to tarnish your good name, all for the want of more of your fair-minded company. I would not mind at all if you stayed, Lord Stanton. It would please me greatly to do so, especially when I'm usually welcome so little. Maybe another time, when we are under less strict observation. I slide my hand from his arm when he gives me a polite bow, before he moves off towards the exit of the hall. I watch him leave, all the faces that had turned on us now returning to their own conversations. Sophia, did you not care to take my advice? I stare at Arabella as she rushes to my side, whispering as she approaches. Not only do you care to be seen with Lord Stanton, but with both of you emerging from such a private place. She gives a small sigh before a mischievous smile curves her lips. And why were you down such a shadowed corridor alone with Lord Stanton, may I ask? I grew bored of the hall and went to explore, but I soon became lost, and Lord Stanton was kind enough to escort me back to the hall. I smile at her. I may not have told her everything, but what I said was not necessarily a lie either. I suppose that was most courteous of him, though next time I advise not wandering off in unfamiliar places and bumping into such tempting-looking men. I laugh at her words, and we turn to head back to our seats. After an hour or more of conversing with people who are more interested in my personal life than in what I am saying, we finally can return home. The next day I am pleased to find we have no engagements planned, so have the opportunity to recover from the last one. What is wrong, Arabella? You have not settled for the last hour. Arabella continues to frown as she paces in front of the window. I have forgotten to pick up my order from the shop. Her frown deepens as she draws to a stop. But my chores are too many to retrieve it, and I cannot ask Johnson, as I sent him out already, and he will not return for hours at least. What am I to do? She throws herself down onto the seat, pinching the bridge of her nose. I slowly close my book and set it down on the table. That was a terribly veiled way of asking me to pick up your package. She rolls her head to the side and smiles at me. It is only because you know me so well, Sophia. I am sure to have fooled anyone else. Then tell me what it is I am retrieving, and where it is I am to go and get it. Arabella pulls herself from her seat and places her arms around my shoulders. I could not ask for a better friend, even if I should have had sisters. It is not far to the jewellery shop Arabella made her order with, and I pick up her new brooch with little fuss. But the warmth of the sun and the unusual quietness of the town slows my steps to a wander. I pass the shops, staring in at the wares, sparkling necklaces, shimmering ribbons, and even a pair of blue satin boots which catch my eye. Anyone who is familiar with Bath may actually recognise this street. I did actually go to Bath to look at sort of places that I could include for anybody who has been there. So yeah. None are enough to tempt me out of the bright day though, and I continue on with little thought to my path. It's not until thick shade makes me shiver that I come to my senses, finding myself in an unfamiliar and less than pleasant looking side street. Straightening myself out, I continue forwards as best I can, but as I walk, the people sitting against the aged wall stare at me, some shuffling to their feet with curious and far more inspecting glances than I would care for. Thankfully, few interfere with my path, and I can see familiar buildings at the end of the shadowed street. Well, what a rare thing to see. I quickly come to a stop as a rough-dressed man steps out in front of me, blocking my exit. Excuse me. I try to pass him by, but he moves in front of me once again. Now, no need to be in such a rush. His gaze drops to the package in my hand. I see you're in town on search for wares. He grins, a mouthful of blackened teeth revealed behind his cracked lips. It just so happens I have some beautiful items a distinguished woman such as yourself would be interested in. He gestures to the side, where a splintered wooden box is placed, a variety of dog necklaces and brooches thrown inside of it. I am not in the market for buying for myself today, now please excuse me. He doesn't move from where he's placed himself solidly in front of me. A lady can treat herself as well, can't she? The man's hand snaps out and grips my arm, before attempting to drag me over to his box of wares. Just take a closer look. My attempts to struggle free are useless, and just as I am wondering how much damage my soft shoes would do if I slammed them down on his foot, a familiar voice rips through the alley. You there! We both whip our heads around to see Lord Stanton striding towards us. The man's grip on my arm falters as he looks over Stanton's stature and stern expression, but he continues to keep hold of me. Stanton is the second tallest character in the game. Foxley is the most tallest. The young lady and I were just speaking business, which is none of yours, sir. Stanton gives a stiff smile. The lady already seems to be encumbered with goods. Let us not force more on her, shall we? Though he keeps smiling, Stanton's grip on his cane tightens in warning. The stranger casts his narrow gaze between us before he finally shoves me away. I suppose there are better customers. Indeed, I'm sure there will be. Shall we proceed on, Missingham? I take his arm, hoping he won't notice my fingers trembling slightly, and we walk at a fast pace down the alley and into the relief of the main street. When my nerves have settled, I turn my face to Stanton, who has a rather casual air considering what just occurred. I must thank you profusely for your help back there, Lord Stanton. Think nothing of it, but I must think of it. You did me a great service when I was in need. His broad smile softens to a more serious one, and I feel a sudden heat beginning to rise to my cheeks. I quickly glance away. He clears his throat, a strange silence beginning to fall between us as we walk. Though I know little of fashion these days, I would advise against seeking goods from that street in the future. It was not my intention to find that street. I was picking up a package for Arabella when I found myself wandering further than intended. Though your advice would suggest you know that street well? His brows pinch together and he quickly looks away, his arm tensing beneath my hand. But whatever emotion had made him so uneasy soon passes to be masked with a smile. I was simply walking past the alleyway when I heard that man's rather unsavoury voice. When I saw you in the shadows, I realised what must be happening, so made my way to you. Are you often so vigilant about ladies in distress? I give a smile, hoping to lighten the conversation. It is not a usual pastime of mine, but the opportunity to walk with you was too tempting to let pass by. This time I am unable to hide the blush on my cheeks. Stanton seems surprised by his own bold words and fixes his gaze ahead of us once again. You are quite unlike any lady I have ever met in society, Missingham. Oh, how so? You have a very genial sort of nature that is rare in any I have met before. That phrase does change depending on your personality, obviously. It is indeed a pleasure to know someone who can be so cordial in so many situations. Also, the very fact you do not seem the least perturbed by walking with me in public says much. You truly seem less concerned with others' opinions and instead on forming your own mind. It is unfair of people to assume someone's character merely on what they've heard. It would be much better to form an opinion after growing to know someone. You truly do continue to surprise me, Miss Ingham. Only in a good way, I hope, in the best of ways. Once again I find it difficult to look away from his capturing gaze. It's not until the rattling of a carriage beside us makes me blink and we both look away from each other. A few moments later I continue the conversation, realising it is not long until we reach my house. You speak of society as though you despise it, so why attend events at all? It is not society that I dislike, it is just the vile glee they take in bringing down others so quickly and with so little knowledge of truth. Also, my family enjoys the outings, even with being so tarnished in their own reputation for the fact of merely being related to me. If you are so concerned with their well-being, then why participate in such things that would cause them harm? It's difficult to phrase the question, but I can see he understands my meaning by the downturned expression on his face. Some things are not so simple. You obviously care for your family, so shouldn't you put their needs above your habit? For a moment he remains silent, before turning his heavy gaze back to meet mine. It is a shame you cannot know the extent of what you say. I open my mouth to ask what he means, when he suddenly draws to a stop. This is your residence, is it not? I wonder for a moment how you would know, until I notice Arabella eagerly peeking through the curtains at the windows. Yes, it is. When I first asked my mum to play through this, she imagined that Arabella was huffing on the window and drawing little love hearts in it, though Arabella doesn't like Stanton very much, so I can't imagine she would actually do that at all. I have much enjoyed our walk and conversation, Miss Ingham. It has been many years since I've talked so freely with someone outside of my own family. Would you care to come inside for tea, Lord Stanton? It would only be fair to do so to thank you for your help earlier. For some reason I feel rather eager to keep his company. I shake away the thought and glance up at him. That is most kind, but I'm afraid that He shifts uneasily on the spot before giving me a smile. I'm afraid I have another pressing engagement. It's then I notice he is turning something over in his hands. It is a business card. one with the 4 card suits drawn on it. Even after our previous conversation, it is the card tables which are on his mind. Of course, I understand. I pull my hand back from his arm and turn to stand before him. Another time then? Most definitely. His smile falters a little with what I can only guess is shame, before he dips into a deep bow and strides off back in the direction we came. I watch him leave, a small pang of disappointment lodging itself in my chest, before I also turn and head away. And I think that's where I shall leave it this time. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't actually think I made many comments about behind the scenes stuff, so I will make sure to actually note some things down so as I remember next time. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you next time. Bye!